Welcome in, everybody. American Leeds, the YouTube channel and the Thursday night podcast. I haven't been doing much. With me tonight is Chris at ChrisFox75 on Twitter. I haven't been doing much content because it's just been, how do I say this? I think everybody's been pining for signings, and I haven't. I knew that the 49ers would be relatively quiet this week until things happened. And why did I say that? Why did I think that? Well, I thought that because I think, as I was just saying with Chris, I think they're through phase one of this transfer window. And phase one of the transfer window was to try to retain as many players as possible. And to me, that's what aggressive meant. A lot of people didn't understand that. I think they're getting into phase two, which is understanding who's staying and who's committed to the club, and then going to go out and sign players because they needed to know who they needed to have. And I never really freaked out this whole transfer window because I always said, Chris, and you know, I just always thought, like, if they could retain my big four, like two of my big four, which were Vober, who wound up being a snake, unfortunately. I think he must have said something to the club in order to get into the photos, but he was a snake, got out, got the loan. Wober was one. Tyler Adams, which was always a tough ask, but I think there was a possibility that he was going to stay, but it was a last minute kind of trigger by Bournemouth. Whatever. He wound up leaving. And the other two were Nanto, who does not have a relegation clause, but I always compared him to, holdouts in the United States when they're holding out for contracts. Usually the club wins. So Nanto was one. He could still go, and Somerville. So those were my big four going in. I never thought Sinisterra would stay. The fact that Sinisterra is still here is quite honestly like
it's
a miracle. Like,
I'm still not. Yeah, I'm still like
he hasn't
holding on with that one because he could still go. But yeah, that's huge.
He hasn't played the last two games, but like, I don't know, seeing him in a Leeds training kit, I'm like, oh man, if we could retain him somehow, some way, and he's gone about it a different way than Willie. So, anyways, I mean, you
phase one.
Piroe, you have Jorginho Ruter, I think, making some decent strides, but it's like, does Jack Harrison even get in on the side? Does he even get in now? Like, I don't know. I'm like,
well, it's like Dan James was flying. He was doing well.
Dan James was doing
now all of a sudden, does he get back into the 11 with these guys?
And they were looking at another winger too. I just saw
Pansil.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, Jack Harrison, who, I don't know.
Well,
it's not that bad, but Jack was a good servant of the club. I just think I was never panicked, even when we weren't signing people. And I know people were anxious and their head was popping out. It was so slow. I mean, Gier messaged me and said, there's nothing to like, there are mornings where he was struggling to, do the daily news because there was just nothing.
Right.
And, I don't know. It's just a new dawn. It's a new day. And I don't know, Chris, I think I would have gotten worried if it was, I think it stayed here and Nanto and Sinisterra left, but I just knew that wasn't going to be the case. I think I knew that Sinisterra would, I don't know, Sinisterra and Willie could have still left, but I think that they would have gotten 3 or 4 good bodies.
Yeah.
I would, it is going to be tough for the automatic promotion just because we were behind the 8 ball, but
I've
been trying to sum up the past few weeks. What do you think?
I agree for the most part. I think that, that was the strategy going into. And if you listen to, especially when Farke got, when he got appointed and you listen to his comments, it was going to be a rough start, right? It was going to be a bumpy road to begin. Everyone needs to be patient. It'll probably go through the end of the window. And, I think that you were correct that first stage was to retain players, and there was a conceded effort to try to do that. I don't think it went as planned. I don't think those retention efforts were as successful or as easy as they wanted them to be, and I think that caused some problems, especially later on with players who they maybe thought had retained leaving, and then the problems with Nanto and Sinistera. But yeah, I think if we had listened to what was being said, and that's easy to do, right? You can listen and you can hear what they're saying, but what you feel can be different. And I think that's where, for me, I knew it was going to be methodical. I knew they were very smart. I think they were going to be very strategic and use a real methodical approach to the window. But the emotion and you want good things to happen. And when you see the field, when you see the players go on the field and you see that lineup and you're like, we're playing real games here, and
Yeah. The
that's
points
where I
were
think it's
being
been jarring, right? Because you see this lineup the last couple games, the play's gotten better for sure. I think they've gotten the most out of the players that have been out there, and the defense is definitely, with Rodon coming in, and there seems to be shoring up in the back a little bit. But overall, we haven't scored any goals really.
yeah.
The attack's been nothing to be desired.
He hasn't
So
had much to gel with up front. And those guys, they just haven't. They're not. We don't have any killers up front, or at least killers that can stay healthy. I mean, I think Nanto and Somerville were killers.
yeah,
They had a decent run of games last year. Robert Darlington says, "No sleep, dun,
beasties.
dun, no sleep till Ipswich.
Good shout,
Patience,
Robert.
always going to be a hard sell with the run of results we've had."
And the
Yeah, I
injuries too.
mean,
Let's not forget about the injuries. It
the
wasn't just
injuries, right?
the issues with retention. It was also all of a sudden we had like 8 players out, and so that's not, you can never plan for that. I mean, you can have contingency plans, but you don't know which players are going to get injured, how long they're going to be out. So the timing of that was not obviously ideal.
Yeah.
But it's just been jarring. What I was going to say, just to summarize my thoughts, was like, you went from those lineups the last couple of weeks to all of a sudden, we were posting things in the chat. These people were marking up lineups with potential signings and people we've brought in, and it's all of a sudden looking so good. And such a, it's basically been a 24-hour turnaround where this lineup all of a sudden looks like one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. So that's, I think, got everyone going from severely depressed to, pretty ecstatic right now. Pretty pumped.
Yeah, we needed a 9. We got a 9.
A real 9. A
It's
real
a
9.
it's a real 9, and what I'm excited about, obviously, Patrick Bamford, I mean, he just hasn't had any competition, really. The 9 that we were expecting to get, Ruter, really wasn't a 9. It might have fit like Marsh's chaos style of, get the ball and put it in the back of the net. But as far as like composure goes, when I watch, I mean, and as everybody has been watching his highlight reels for Swansea, he has a bit like Bamford is a striker that works. I can go on and on. He works off the ball. He does decent stuff. He puts himself about in between the two center backs. He does number 9 things. He can do hold up play. He at one point, I think he's lost his step, but he can be, and his prime was quick. But he was always a striker that was like maybe one touch and bang, one touch bang. If he's in form.
Yeah.
He was never a guy that really sat down keepers. Like, you never would see Patrick Bamford like really sit down a keeper. He would either play in somebody else or he would put in like a touch, and then he would make a kind of a decent strike at a decent placement of the ball. But this guy seems to have like just composure in front of goal in a way that I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen, maybe since Kamar Roof in his prime, or Eddie Nketiah on loan from Arsenal early in his career. I just think he's going to ask questions, and I think he's going to get in dangerous positions. And he's got a bit of I don't know. He's a football player. Does that make
Yeah,
any sense? He finishes his dinner. It looks like early doors. But what do you think?
I was just gonna say, do you? I think it was you, and this was before we connected on here, but I thought you had posted something about that striker instinct, that alpha mentality. And I think I had kind of dialogued with you a little bit on Twitter about that. And I think that's what I look for in a striker, not just the ability to put the ball in the net, but just the attitude. Um,
Mm.
and I don't think Bamford has that. You don't look at him and think he's got that killer instinct. He's very aggressive, that mentality. And I think Piroe fits that profile. That's just something I look for in strikers. Like it's it's kind of like in NFL, right? We have the wide receiver ego where give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, and they can cause yeah. It's you put up with them because they're the playmakers, so the ones that make they score, they make a lot of things happen, and the striker fits that same profile. They have to have that ego, like feed me the ball, give me the ball, and if they don't get the ball, they're unhappy. And I
Give me
like
the
that.
damn ball.
I like that. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
And so Bamford always struck me as like, man, I wouldn't call him soft because like you have to have a certain level of physique and presence to play in the Premier League, to play this level of football. But like mentality wise, I didn't see him as like, yeah, he wasn't going to scrap with anybody. He wasn't going to yell. Yeah, I don't know. He did go after his teammates once in a while, but not in necessarily a constructive ego way.
He needs to know where the ball's going to be.
Yeah, he's very. I think he's pretty technical, but just not a killer. Like
if things aren't perfect, then it won't be.
Sometimes you have to make something happen if it's not there.
Right.
Yeah.
The ball. Like there was a couple of these where like the ball was behind Joel and he kind of like went with it. He kind of adjusted his body, put it back, like created a little bit of space and still got the shot off. Like there's a little bit of while if like the ball was behind Bamford, he'd miss it or something would have happened. It wasn't perfect. He'd look at the guy like that was trying to cross the ball and like, what was that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of attitude.
Or just making those runs where, I mean, you could get hurt. You don't know. But you're going to put the body on the line to put the ball in the net,
Right.
Some of that courage.
And Patrick Bamford could be a decent. I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think Saudi's coming in for him. So I think he's going to continue to be in the squad. So he can be a decent backup.
He seems like a really good guy too. I don't think I've heard anything bad about him personally, in terms of his presence with other players and the fans. Like there's I don't see a downside to keeping him around.
It's an upgrade, a massive upgrade.
Yeah.
So I just want to look at there we go. The first team as we squad build. Obviously, what do you think of Meslier? What do you think of his performances so far?
He hasn't really had to do much. He had a great save against West Brom. What a great save that was. Thankfully. But other than that, like in the last, he really hasn't had to do much work back there. He's looked decent with his passing.
What do you think of his ball? The ball at his feet?
I think it's terrible. I think it's. I think in this system, it's okay. It's been okay for me. He hasn't.
Yeah.
It's not that panic. Everything just seems to have slowed down a lot, and where you can actually see patterns
because of
the system, the style of play. Like everything is slowed down, and. So
we're gonna retain the ball here. We're gonna do a little pass around.
Exactly.
Pascal Stroik was talked about. He said we're passing laterally a lot. He called it left to right, but we're waiting for a big opportunity or goal scoring opportunity. So
Yeah.
he goes, it might be boring to fans, but that's what we're doing. Just kind of like trying to tell them to, and to me, it's entertaining because we were retaining the ball. But
Well, you'll see if the more
so
dynamic players you have in front of those guys, like they're going to be able to put the ball in the middle of the field and just connect passes and go and create chances that way. So
I think the passing's much better than what I saw like of some of the Norwich sides. I think it's just more crisp than some of the Norwich teams.
I think it'll only get better. I don't think it's obviously the finished product. It's definitely looked better each game, though. I think that's a good sign. They seem to be, getting some of that rust off and gelling a little bit more. Just knowing where they're supposed to be, that's the pace of play at this level. You have to already know kind of where you're going.
Leo Hjeldes looks to be has stayed. We've got some good old boys still here. I don't know how else to describe them.
Cody Drama's a mystery to me. There's talk that he is the real deal. He's just coming back from injury, so he's going to get inserted. Right. He's going to be what we need. And then there's other people saying that Farke doesn't rate him, and what's going to happen to him?
Here's the real problem that we've been having that I think is I don't know if it's a problem. I just don't know what Farke's doing. I'm sure he's managing this situation, but the captains, okay, the team captains is Liam Cooper, great servant to the club. He's been here it feels like a decade. He's been here a long time. I think somebody said he's seen like 8 or 10 managers, something crazy like that. But he is a quintessential captain, but he gets injured. He's injured. He does have spells where he's out of form. The second captain is Luke Ayling. Luke Ayling is questionable whether he can play at this level. And it pains me to say that because it's the championship. But he's got mistakes in him at the championship level. So that's the second captain. So how do you take the armband off the second captain? Well, do you give it to the third captain? Well, the third captain, I think, was Rodrigo. He's left. After that, it was Bamford. Bamford's also injured. So there's no succession plan for captain at the moment. But after that, maybe after Bamford and Rodrigo, maybe it was Tyler Adams. Well, Tyler Adams has bounced.
Yep.
So it's who on this team would you give the armband to?
So are you saying part of Drama's situation is you can't you have to have some leadership. You have to have some experience of leadership out there to help balance things out. Yeah, I think that's good.
I think if Luke Ayling didn't wear an armband, he would be replaced. I think the only reason he's there is because it's it's a light position. It's him and Drama. It's not a huge. It's I guess there's more depth than left back, but maybe not. Maybe with Firpo, if Firpo's healthy, and then you have Yelda, and then you have Byram. Maybe it's not. But
do you remember? Do you remember the Marsh's experiment with trying to get more out of Struijk? And so he gave him the armband for a game.
Yeah, and he just folded. He folded. He absolutely folded. So who would so I was even thinking that about so Pascal Struijk, and then I was like, oh no, wait, he absolutely.
By the way, he's looking good. But
he's looking good, right? So you would not.
He's on the upward trajectory right now.
But literally,
there's not a lot of. I could see guys.
The only person if you start to say, okay, well, Ampadu, but Ampadu just got here, man.
Right. Same with Rodon. Same with Byram is back, but he's just integrating himself into the squad. So
I would never give it to Byram's. I think ideally a squad player. I mean, you would almost.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm looking at the picture right now, and I'm saying, yes, they're the guys that you mentioned who have been here are. There's only a few who are available, right? And then other guys are just new. They're integrated or young. They're out of the youth squad.
Yeah, or they're coming off loan.
Yeah, coming off loan. But yeah,
There's
that's
just
a good point.
literally no one. So
There's
that's the
not
problem. That's the
there's
problem right
nothing wrong
now.
with it though, too. Like if that's what he needs to have that balance in there, that's good. So I think the back is important. I think to see Melier maybe develop into more of a vocal presence back there and keeping the back line organized would be good. I think he's got room to improve in that area. If he can get that going, this is good. A good time, good environment for that. But
I'm gonna catch up.
Darlow's a guy who could come in and provide that for you too. He's
I
got
think
that
Ampadu would be somebody that you would want to have
the armband.
the armband.
Yeah,
And I think he's
he
close to
seems like he
reaching the
has it.
camp. I think he's in line. He's in the like line on the national team of Wales.
Yeah,
But again, he
he's
just walked in. I mean, maybe he's somebody that you give it to at like Christmas or something. But I don't know. Luke is so
good.
to me, Luke is so bad right now. Luke has gotta be pushed out of the not pushed out, but
He
he's
scored a
getting to
goal.
he's scored a goal, right? So now he's gonna start. He's definitely gonna start the next game. But like he's got mistakes in him. He just is like he falls down, he leaves his feet. Like he's putting his and they're not like sometimes they're not like really bad mistakes, like he's in the box, but
But
he
he
just puts
hasn't.
his teammates in awkward positions. That's the best way to put it. Like people are scrambling to cover for him.
I
That's the
agree.
best way.
I agree. I think everyone, well, not everyone, but most fans would say he's somewhat of a liability. But at the same time, if he was that great of a liability, why isn't anyone else coming in to play for him?
Yeah, Carl,
I
I'm just
know.
going to catch on the comments. Carl says, "Hi, how's it going? Great day for Leeds with Piroe and Amiri. I think you meant and
Yeah,
coming in. Yeah, man. I think Amiri. We were just talking about. I think off camera. It's like, will he be another holding midfielder or will he play the 10? Either way, I think he's going to be great with ball retention. Maybe he can play Gray in the 10.
I think he'll be a 10.
Maybe he'll be a 10. Maybe he'll be the 10 that picks out a killer pass. I don't know. I have to dig more into that, but I think bolstering the spine in the midfield is going to be huge. Kenneth, let's go, boys. Let's do it. Let's get in here. LFG. Have to pick new captains. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I think the captaincy is
Can't
that's
be
why
Luke. Can't be Liam. Who's next? I think Ampadu. He's the one that's just based on what you see. Seems like has the attributes, but he's like you said, Alex. He's just still integrating, so you can't just give it to him right away.
Yeah. Gray be captain. That's a good shout. Yep, guys. Yep.
We gotta start saying that here in the States.
Leaves his feet. Has to be a 10, Kenneth says, for Amiri. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, we need
but he has played. He has played. Apparently he has played an 8.
Oh, he has played the 8. Okay.
In Germany.
So that's my like kind of my 2 cents on Luke. So who else do you think who else do you want? What position do you want to upgrade? Let's say we do retain Sinistera and Nanto.
Yeah.
What position do you want to upgrade? Tyler Adams isn't here. You'd put a big X over him. I think Jamie Shackleton's kind of a more versatile player. Darko Jabi's going to be like more of a squad player. Ian Preveda, I don't think you can count on. I just think injury-wise, he's got a lot of sizzle. Starting to develop stake, I guess, but we'll see. I think Archie Gray will be good. I don't think you can count on him for so that position to me, another holding midfielder, just to give Archie some days off as well as Ampadu.
Yeah, I don't think it's healthy for someone that young to play that many games.
Right.
I think we do need at least one midfielder, holding midfielder. There's like Kamara, O'Brien talks out there. Like those two would be great. I think we need a fullback, and I think we need, potentially another attacker, either a 10 or another winger.
So another winger. Okay. Another
potentially.
winger.
Like the Pancil rumor, I would take him.
I'd still take a left back. The
Yeah,
the
I think a
fullbacks just seem
fullback
light.
is definitely. I think we'll get a fullback.
Yeah.
I think we will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think we'll get a fullback and another midfielder, and then potentially another attacker or two.
Can you imagine? I just can't imagine Sinisterra staying. I still am like the fact that he's still here. I'm just like, oh my god, this is like insane. Like if he plays,
I
Nanto
know.
too. Nanto too. I mean, those guys can cook. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, who saw that? I mean, that press conference this morning, that was, my gosh.
Yeah.
That was the big news. I mean, we thought both of them were going to be gone. We wouldn't see him play ever again in a Leeds shirt. And all of a sudden, they're both fully committed and ready to go. Just like that.
Well, now I always said that Nanto should, like, I always thought it would be a holdout, a holdout situation in which he comes back to the squad. The only difference is that the points have been actually dropped here. Like usually in the preseason, it's hard to, even in like the first couple of weeks of the NFL season, it's hard to pin a loss on one player.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see that if Willie Nanto was in the past 2 games, that we would have result. We would either have a win last week or a result, or at least a result against Birmingham. But yeah. So, do you welcome him back, Nanto?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
We forgive and forget easy.
Yeah, I mean,
we're just like, it's all contract negotiation.
I don't necessarily forget it. I think that there's a few things definitely you'd want to make sure that he has learned from it. You can't have him, be reintegrated because now all of a sudden he wants to play football again. And he sees that maybe as his way back into a move, maybe in January. So he's like, I at least need to play. But then maybe his attitude is still a question. So, I think there's still work to be done for him to get back into the good graces, not just the fans, but just his teammates and the manager, just to make sure he's really learned from it. And he's definitely committed. So as long as he's willing to do the work, and obviously he helps us a great deal on the field, putting, if he scores goals, obviously that's a huge bonus for us, a huge positive. But it what it does is it puts doubt in your mind when it comes to him now. So moving forward, everyone's potentially going to question him more than maybe they would in the past if something goes wrong, or if there's any incident of attitude or any hint of anything. He's done that to himself, and that's something he's going to have to work through. But I think, you welcome him back. I still would like to see a statement or something from him to acknowledge to the fans that,
the window's not.
He made a mistake. He made a mistake. He is committed, and he's going to give it his all. I think everyone just wants assurances, so they don't have to have that doubt, and looking at him and questioning.
Right, and it's like,
is he really here for the right reason?
Yeah, and if you miss the playoffs by 2 points, it's like you look back at, him not playing for Birmingham, or that could be a killer. I think this team does start to go on like a crazy run. Like that's how Farka teams. Yeah,
like instantly.
No, not instantly, but I think like in the fall or in December, I think it's going to be like, holy crap! Like we're winning everything.
Yeah, I've heard some people say that they're looking at the season really starting in September. Do you kind of feel the same way?
No, maybe. I just think that his system, based on the chaos that's happened over the summer and what's been happening, and then you look at how his teams, like once they start catching momentum, they just catch fire. Like if you look at the Bielsa Farca game that happened, I think in 2019, we lost 3-1. It was
Yeah, I
actually a
saw
much
that. Saw
closer
that game.
game. I think a penalty kind of got Norwich going. But my point being, after they won that really kind of top of the table game, of which two teams were both really fit, they went on an insane run and they basically were not caught. I can see something like that happen with this, just the way this league goes and the way he knows how to kind of get the momentum going and pick up wins at, like, every game. I just can see that, and I, already based on the momentum of this week, I could see us start to maybe slay the top of the table, which is Ipswich. Fark on Ipswich, he says, I'm respectful. I have to give them lots of praise. It's quite normal that after promotion, you always play with confidence. They are a team at the moment with lots of confidence, no doubt.
Yes,
Reading
they're
this.
on a run. They're definitely on a run.
Farka this morning said, we're working on strengthening our squad with incomings. I think we are not too far away. That's correct. Yeah, he wasn't lying about that. On Nanta, we couldn't let the situation distract us from the group. We are strict with our leadership. Farkas says Nanto came to him with apologies. He said that he made a mistake, which was enough to give him a second chance. He's 100% ready if I choose to pick him. I don't think he's picked. Do you think he's picked this weekend? I mean, I don't think he's picked for the starting. I think he'll be named on the bench. I'll be shocked.
Did you see Dan James has picked up something? So I don't know if he can't play. If he can't play, Nanto might have to play, or Sinistera.
Do you know abductor? Is that your abdomen? I think that's
I have to look at my
like
anatomy textbook. But no.
Somebody message us to let us know what an abductor is. We could probably Google it. I think it has something to do with his stomach area.
But if he has to miss a game, then you might have to look at Sinistera or Nanto coming in right away.
Farka on criticism of Nanto, we must not forget that we're talking about a 19-year-old. And I was saying that all last week. I was like, he's 19. Remember I talked to Lockie? I was like, he's 19.
Yeah.
Think back to when you were 19. It's the reality is we're playing in the championship. But you have to show some steel not to play is acceptable. I thought there was some you are at, if you're old enough to kind of go to the draft, then you are a man. You got to like kind of grow up quickly. So he's got to take some licks. So if he gets booed or whatever, you did it to yourself a little bit. If you're going to get some abuse, people are going to.
I think he'll be expecting it though too, which is it helps you prepare for it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
I can totally understand. Farkas continues on Nanto. I can totally understand why the head of a young boy was attracted by another offer. We would always wished he would have behaved in a different way, but I can understand why his head was a bit gone. It doesn't mean we have to accept it. You get a second chance. There is no third chance. He had to work hard to earn the trust, love, and support. The ball is in his court now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's how he responds to all this, right?
Yeah. Farga on Nanto and Sinistera in general, you can't compare the two situations with Luis. It was a legal contractual situation. That situation is sorted. He's in clear mind or clear head. With Willie, there was no clauses. He didn't feel ready to play and refused, more or less. Yeah, it sounds like he definitely did. Refuse. And then obviously the Joel Piroe news leaked. He came out with 2 articles and drama. We went over the drama situation. I just think he's ready. I think the only thing that he Luke Bill Alien scored, so that'll definitely help him. And then also, I just think he's captain. There's no
leadership
no
component.
leadership. It's tough to put a captaincy on somebody that just got here. And the only other person you put it on right now is Ampadu, and Ampadu's playing 4 games. I mean, I almost thought for a second that you'd put it on Joe Rodon, but man, the guy played 1 freaking game. You can't even do that. That's crazy to put any kind of like captaincy around him. And there he is. There he is, Joe Piroe over the line in 24 hours. It was not hijacked. I give Leeds a lot of credit, man. No leaks. No leaks. I messaged Jira and I think you too. I mean, but dude, when was the last time Fabrizio Romano, I know it's, whatever, doesn't cover the championship as much as the Premier League, but he was behind the club.
Everyone, yeah.
Like he was behind, like the Daily Mail. We have a leak to the Daily Mail now, but like the club was putting out this picture and Fabrizio Romano was putting the picture out or confirming this thing later. So I just think like,
well, these leaks are done intentionally too, and I think it was.
I just think
Joe Wayman from his show today made a great point that like he thought, or he said that he thought that Swansea put out. They're the ones that leaked it because they were going to try to get as much. They wanted a bidding war, and they were going to try to get as much, as much as they could for him because he's in the last year of his contract. So that made sense, like let's leak it and then we'll have more than one team come in for him, see what happens. But
the 49ers,
I don't think they're leaking anything.
No, they're not. I think the 49ers learned from Aaron's. I think what happened is there's got to be some small negotiations behind the scenes, like, hey, we're all in agreement on terms here, personal terms of the player, your agreement on the fee. Some steps need to be clear with the medical, etc. If you leak, you have 20, I don't know, you have 6 hours to leak this. You have to, there's got to be some sort of thing on the 49ers to be like, okay, if you leak this in 6 hours, you have 6 hours to get a field another deal. And if you don't, then I'm going to withdraw my, you have some leverage at all parts of the negotiation. I don't know what, I'm spitballing here, but like,
I imagine disclosures are part of all the, all the negotiations, and they all want it done a certain way. And, but it's so hard to control. It's so hard to control.
So difficult to control.
Because it's you have the agents and you have people at the club, each club that are just hearing things. Yeah.
Everything. I almost think Fabrizio Romano is solely driven by, I mean, he might know a few owners, or directors of football, but like most of his Rolodex is agents.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he gets used by teams too to make sure.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's asked. I mean, I think Roger Zani's used him before, from what I've heard.
For sure,
to leak stuff out to get leverage.
There was one tweet that he had that it was like, I understand that that Rad Razani really wants this done. And I was like, okay, that's a nice little.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. If he's DMing content creators, you don't think he's going to slide into the DMs of Fabrizio Romano? He's such an idiot. So anyways, I don't think the 49ers are leaking stuff to Fabrizio Romano. I don't think they're doing it. I think that if it looks like, if anything, they're leaking stuff to the Daily Mail. So
it's hard to
jump on this stuff.
And as a fan, it's hard to live through, right? It's hard to not get information when you want to hear everything. But it's also been interesting and kind of cool to see like who the actual players when they are announced are like, oh my gosh, no one's been talking about that guy. Who's this
Right.
guy all of a sudden? So
Whatever
that's
they
pretty
have a
neat.
system in place. They've got it systematized, right?
Yeah.
They have systems and operations behind the scenes. That's why I kind of like put this as the war room. And the 49ers have a war room that they work in, like in the American football. There's like this war room in the draft, and they all kind of like huddle up in this room, and they cut to cameras inside there, and it's all these guys pouring over stats and papers, and they're calling up the player, but they have like some sort of systems in place now. I don't think there were systems in place before for transfers. I think it was Orta, go get this player. You know what I mean? And him sweating bullets to try to get something going.
Like literally.
I think it's I think there's something like, here's the list of 40 targets. Okay. And we're going to go after these or whatever. I'm making up a number.
Well, that's what they did with the manager, right? They had there was that dossier that came out. It was like we had a list when they were hiring Kyle Shanahan. They had a list of 20 to 30 candidates for the head coaching job, and they went through it painstakingly until they got the right guy. And and that was kind of what we were talking about when they were looking for the Leeds manager with Farka. That took time, right? It was driving everyone crazy back then. And I think you're probably right. They apply some of that same methodology to player acquisitions, just as they did the manager. It just doesn't go as fast as people want it to go.
All right, I'm going to catch up on the comments. 1 to 2 weeks binge for sure. I think we're talking about Dan James there. Kenneth. Chris, do you have a YouTube channel? You have I know you're on Twitter.
No, I mean, no, I don't. Just free agent.
Agent.
If someone wants to talk, I'll hop on.
Evening, guys. How you doing? Excellent, Philip. Phil, Kenneth says.
Does Phil know what an abductor is?
Some of these guys know like each other. Like they'll start like be like DMing each other. Like in my chat, they'll be like, it's like becomes AIM. Do you remember that? Were you on AIM?
Of
American
course.
Online. I won't say my handle, but the best thing about AIM, at least in college, was the away messages. Those were like that was like a status symbol.
Yeah.
And they were like unlimited. Anyways, no tequila shots for the wife. Okay, you guys are inside. This is inside. Niners play chess, not checkers, says Kenneth. I think so. I think they definitely are going about it in a different way. Deal is done.
Yeah. I think fans are really going to like the way they do it after we get through this. I think they're going to come to appreciate how they do it.
Philip says it's also very refreshing, guys. Believe me, after years of absolute clickbait from one owner to the next, professionalism is very encouraging. It is just that Leeds fans aren't used to it. Yeah, I mean, I sense the PTSD. I've been a fan for 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah,
I sense the PTSD, but it's like this isn't the same old Leeds. No one believed me. No one, I say stuff like it's going to be quiet and you don't have anything to say until they say it. That's why I don't go live sometimes. And, but like, there's just not going to be, what do you want them to come out and say? Like, what do you want the 49ers to say? Sometimes I'm just like, what? That they're talking to XYZ player. They're not going to do that. They're not going to.
Not in the middle of the window. They're not going to say anything.
Yeah, or like come out and say we're trying our best. Well, Angus Kinnear would just get like raked over the coals. By the way, Angus Kinnear's time is up. Everyone.
We talked about that. Yeah. I think so too.
He's going to. I told you, Chris. He's going to be the head on the stake
on the post or something.
So before the gargoyles are at the gate. But
gargoyles, that was it.
He will be the decapitated head. Because the failure of all these loans. I mean, nobody wants.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta connect that to
somebody's got to fail, right? Somebody's got to fall on the sword, I think he knew where the bodies were buried, like during the transition.
I love that.
That's what you always say. Like when somebody's
Yeah.
like, whenever an executive, like I've had presidents and stuff of organizations that I'm with get escorted out the building, if you know what I'm saying. And there's always been some of the staff that go out the door too, but some of the staff stay. And because they know where,
The
like
bodies are
everybody
buried.
says, the bodies are buried, or they know where the emails are, they know what was going on. They were privy to some information, and they're going to help in the transition. And that's what I think, Angus, why he was retained. I think the 49ers knew some of this stuff. I don't know if they knew the extent to it. That's why they leaked the crap about the ground being put up for sale. I'm just saying that after all this is done, I think Angus, I would be shocked if he's still. I think he should have been fired because, again, I've been a fan for a few years now. There was like a badge. Speaking of decapitation, there was a badge launch. Have you seen it? Where it was like,
yeah, some people still use it as their Twitter handle.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But he was in charge, and he was the comms guy for this. And somehow he because Massimino and Rad Rosani liked him. I think Rad Rosani at the time still liked him.
He's Teflon. He's got Teflon.
He is Teflon. Get your resume sorted, Kenneth says. Yeah, I think it's just and he'll land on his feet. I'm slamming him, but like he's an executive. He's been an executive at a top club for a decade now. Plus, I think
he may be ready. He may be ready to go to the beach after this anyway.
He'll go to the beach and then he'll wind up at like Middlesbrough or another like top level kind of, maybe like Millwall. Maybe he'll go back to London because he was down in I think he was a West Ham guy. So he'll land on his feet somewhere and try to, and he's got a promotion on his resume. Don't forget the Myanmar trip. Nobody was involved in that. It's clean. I don't remember that.
This body's buried there for sure.
Niners are gonna clean that. Niners.
I love that part of it. Like I'm really interested in the business, how the organization's run, and so I'm looking forward to what happens to him. But also, Hammond. Do they retain Hammond? Is it going to be more than just one window, or does he stick around? How's the recruiting going to be structured?
Yeah,
with Steinson and Hammond, and so is there more structuring to happen down the road?
JA7, his number is going to be JA7, so that's going to look really good.
I like that.
Somebody mocked that up. What was the one? This was, I think, the one. Whoever did Photoshop, you got to give it up to Leeds United Photoshop here.
Yeah,
put it on some sort of bodybuilder.
That's kind of.
I think the window. Look, I think the window's not done. I think we're gonna.
No, it's not done.
Look, I really think it can't be. No, but I think we're going to. I think we're just gonna have some ballers. Look, I think Somerville's staying. If Somerville can get a run of games, I mean, if Nanto stays, I mean, Nanto's gonna be incredible in this league. Sinistera, Piroe, you've got the attacking talent, it has been top heavy, but like Amari coming on in the 10. I think you've got two really good holding. I get a holding midfielder and two fullbacks if Amari is going to come in. I think that this is like another holding midfielder. I was so optimistic if Tyler Adams stayed, not because Tyler Adams is the best. He's just a ball winner. I was like, between Ampadu and Adams, like, how is the back line's not even going to have to do any work, let alone Meslier. You saw Meslier barely get worked last game.
Yeah.
If we have another Adams like ball winner, which I think Ampadu can win the ball easily too, but like if you get somebody like that, like somebody that can
another destroyer
in there, like and I think Archie.
Do we have anyone on the squad that is that? I don't think we do.
I mean, Ampadu is about it. I mean,
Yeah, but
they
dude, but
do.
he's just so much more of a player than just that, though.
Yeah,
He can do that, but
he's more toolsy.
yeah, he's got a lot more attributes. But I don't think we have an all out. It's like hockey when they have the goons come on to take care of business. You don't really have the equivalent of that in football necessarily, but the destroyer. I don't know if we have anyone else that I can think of.
Yeah. No, I don't think we do either. Smash the like if you can. Oh yeah, if we land O'Brien, says Kenneth.
Yeah, I
O'Brien
want
will
that
be
one.
next.
Yeah,
O'Brien,
I hope you're
incredible.
right.
He'd be incredible.
Get Kamara in too. Get both of them in.
Get
We
excited,
need
fans.
depth.
Get excited.
We
I
need
mean,
depth.
literally 48 hours ago, everybody's like freaking trying to like, hey, they're literally looking for nooses. Like, and I was just never there. Like, guys,
Yeah.
we're gonna be okay. By the way, it's like 8 days left, 9 days left. A couple days ago, I was like, that's for an eternity in a window. That's
Is
an
it?
eternity. I think
Explain me this. Like what? This
to
is
me,
fascinating to me.
because I
So
think
when you got a deadline like that, right? And you think about the process of what it takes and all the variables. I think they're doing this intentionally. I think they are actually waiting to the end. There's some negotiation or some like I don't know if it's Moneyball or some data that they're like the this is when you get the most out of if you wait there's a window of opportunity here at the end versus going earlier in the middle whatever. But how do you pull that off logistically if you need let's say we're still looking to get 4 more players, 5 more players, like how do you logistically do that?
I mean, I just think what I said. I think they have a list. They're not like Raz where it's
They
like
already have the
one.
players that they
I
want to
don't.
talk to.
I think they have FFP rules, and so like they have FFP guidelines that they're trying to follow. So they might have a list of 4 or 5 players that they want to get, but that might be contingent on Nanto being sold, right? Because he would be the one that probably has. Some people could still go in for Nanto. So or Sinistera. So I think they have, but I think they get I think they literally get a list. They have these players, and then if they get the problem with
They've already talked to them.
they've already had like
Yeah.
pre-conversations with them. And the problem with Raz was it was one in, one out. Like there was I think it was the window, the last wasn't the winter window, but it was the summer window last summer where it was like kind of one in, one out. Like Dan
Yeah.
James had to leave in order to get Cody Gabko or forgot the other Catalara.
They were looking
So
at that guy Harrison was actually being looked at. He's
yeah,
being
so like
shopped around. Yeah.
we have a deal in place to sell Jack Harrison. It's like he's like holding on to this card and he can't let go of it until he knows this other one's coming in. I don't think the 49ers are operating like that. They're going, we're going to bring in these players and sign them first, and then we're going to let go of these other players. And if we don't get let go of them in this window, we're going to let go of them in the winter. But in the meantime, we can take a loss. Like I don't think Rad Razani could take a loss for like 10 months or whatever, or 6 months. I don't think he could carry the balance sheet in the negative for months on end. Where I think the 49ers are going, it's okay, we can go negative here. We can bring in these players, we can take these risks on
Yeah.
some of these bids and be
It's a different
okay.
level strategy for
It's a
sure.
different level of strategy. It's just a different level of like money.
It's
And like I
higher.
can't wait till we get to the Premier League because unfortunately, there's advantages, financial advantages, parachute payments, etc. when we get into the EFL, but there is a much more strict FFP. Like when we get into the Premier League again, we're going to be able to just buy players
Yeah.
because we're going to be able to buy ourselves into a mid-table very
Yeah.
comfortably. Like I just feel like I think we're going to be like the 6th or 7th richest club in the Premier League when we do get promoted.
But it's not just like
unfortunately,
Chelsea. Like you're just buying
no, we'll have like
everybody.
actual
What
strategy
I
behind it. We
Yeah, I
won't
think
just
there's
be
actual
like,
strategy, and it's game. How do you game the system, and not in a way that's cheating? It's within the rules, but like within the rules, what can you exploit? What can you do? How can you be innovative?
I think
I
if it
think
was
we have
possible,
people. I think potentially we have an ownership that potentially could do very well at that level too. We'll have.
yeah.
I mean, hopefully we get there, but I think you're
Kenny
right.
says the 49ers are data driven. Absolutely. What I basically am saying is if it was possible to buy yourself out of the championship, the 49ers have the capital to do it.
Yeah,
We would be doing it.
I agree, and I think they're not only rich, but they're smart, and that's a good combination.
Right.
Because if you're rich but you don't have a good strategy, I
I
think
was
of
actually
Chelsea.
looking right. You're Chelsea. You're just paper
Yeah,
money and you're lighting money on fire, which I don't think we're quite that level, but
no,
and
not
by all
close.
accounts, it looks like Saudi has a significant kind of dark money stake into Chelsea, and that's kind of one of the reasons why Todd Bowley's able to get away at least with some of the
Well,
baseball life
let me ask.
contracts.
Yeah, let me ask you this. I was curious about this. I hope someone could draw this up from last summer. The window, the players we brought in. If you could think off the top of your head: Adams, Aronson, Rasmus, Christensen, Roca, um,
Mm,
Sinistera, and then Nanto. Right. So there's like what, six or seven. How much they cost? Like how much in total you think that window cost? And then list the players that we get at the end of this window and how much we paid. I think the quality of the team is
right.
better. I think the players are better this year than they are last year. And that was for a Premier League club. And I think it's obviously going to be a lot cheaper.
I'll
So
tell
to
you
me,
what.
that's like that to me, if you can list, if someone has that listed out with the money spent.
Well, it's been 3 players. It's been a goalie. It's been Ampadu, who's been probably
Great.
you're talking 2 Americans. I think he's a better all-around player than Adams. But what Adams does well is really good. He's a ball winner. So I will say Adams is
Adams is elite at one thing.
he's
He's
elite at
elite.
one thing, and he's
But
not
Ampadu is
bad.
Adams is really good at more parts of
Adams
the
is good
game.
at more. He's more about his game.
Ampadu is, he's more well-rounded player. But
Yeah.
Kyler Adams he's getting paid for doing
I
what he
think they're
does
about
at
the
a high
same.
level.
I think
They're different though.
we're paying
Yeah,
less for the players and there's more talent. The thing is too, it's a better coach. They just Farka is way better
that's
than
true.
any of the managers that
Yeah.
they had last year. I don't
Well, then
know.
add him to the list, and then add Marsh to the other list, and then you'll
Yeah.
see. I think it's way better. I don't think it's that much different quality player wise.
Yeah, that's the difference between proper owners, says Kenneth. Let me ask you this question. Out of all those snakes and rats that you listed, who did you take back?
From last summer, or the whole year.
Yeah, let's say they all had anybody that's gone on loan. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Who would you pause to take
Who would
back?
I?
Adams was a permanent. I think Harrison
Oh,
was a
so
loan.
okay. So it's Rasmus, Lorente, Rucka, Koch,
Cox. He's in the
Aronson,
final year of his deal. You would know this
Aronson,
guy. Harrison,
and Vober,
Bober,
and Harrison.
and
Harrison was
Harrison.
alone.
Yeah,
Harrison
yeah,
and Aronson. So Jack
yeah,
Harrison could come back.
yeah. Mark B says Rocca.
Yeah, maybe Rocca.
He was out early, I guess.
Plus, if he played under Farka, he never seemed to fit in the system.
Yeah.
None of them really did, but the system they were playing, but so you never really, but there were some that you were just yeah, they're just not that good. So part of me, I don't know about Aronson. I mean, again, we're 2 Americans, and I've had concerns about him, just not just with Leeds, but just like with the US team too. Like he just doesn't produce, right?
Yeah, I don't take him back.
No.
I probably take back Harrison because of Money in the Bank, or and
Fober?
he'd be a good
You want
depth
to take
squad.
Fober back? I think our defense is
I don't even
better
know.
already.
Yeah, I don't even know if I take Fober back. I don't
I
take
think most
Harrison. I
people would
think
say
Aronson.
nobody.
I don't know. I think Aronson's bad. I'm starting
I
to
don't know
be
if
like, I think
I don't know
he's
if
just
he's
a
bad,
passing
but
merchant.
I wonder if
And I don't think
I
he
think
was happy here.
he's definitely plateaued, and it'll be interesting to see if he gets any better.
He'll have some highlights in Germany. I mean, Germany, he'll be all right. I mean, he'll probably, his stock might go up, but I don't know. He'll probably come back because he's the most expensive. Um, Probably Harrison,
Or you
or
take a loss on him.
yeah, or you take a loss. I'd probably take Harrison back. That's it.
Yeah.
Just because Money in the Bank. Because
Yeah, I think that's the one. I think you're right.
I don't take any other of. I'm never like. I mean, maybe Raka, maybe because again he did it the right way, and he was he was out early and kind of like, peace. I'm going to Bettis.
Yeah. So I'm
Um,
like, okay, so we're Americans, so we can talk some NFL in here.
yeah,
I'm a Steelers fan. Full disclosure, not in any way shame to say that if any NFL fans are listening, but Pittsburgh's known to get you know develop really good talent. They hit a certain peak, and then when they're up for like once they're kind of at their highest value, they sell them. But because of the culture in the team, a lot of those players, after they go make their money later on in their career, they come back to the club. Um, they do that with so many players. Players will return kind of just to finish up their career there. So I could see Jack being a player like that. I think Leeds would welcome him back eventually. He reminds me of a guy that could come in, do a job.
yeah, right, right. He
You
puts in
know,
a shift. You know what you're going to get out of him.
yeah.
That's why I don't know. I would keep. He's a known commodity.
Because I think some players they have aspirations and they have goals and personally for their careers, and I think there's a lot of cases where the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and it takes them leaving and experiencing a different culture, a different organization. Um, Sometimes it might be better, but I think in some ways they'll miss the club that maybe they kind of came up with and made their mark with.
All right, what do you
Jack's obviously come through different systems, but I think he's probably most tied to Leeds at heart.
think
So
about Ipswich? On 22 unbeaten streak, one of the hottest teams in Europe, maybe in London. They are playing with some swag.
Benjamin Bloom's team,
Benjamin Bloom's team. Uh,
he's a great guy.
yeah, he's really good. I like his. I've always liked his. He used to do something called the Dearly Departed. I don't know if he still does it, but it's with basically the promoted teams.
Hmm.
I think this is going to be an easy year for the Premier League. I think the three promoted teams are pretty much nailed on, plus Everton for relegation. I think this is going to be like Brentford. I think Bournemouth. I
You
think
Burnley.
Crystal Palace. Like these are going to be easy. This is going to be this is
Oh,
going to
I
be
see what you're
like
saying.
last year, like the last 2 months of the year. I think there was like half the league was still in a relegation battle. This is going to be like the easiest. I think they're going to be pinned for relegation by like the end of October. The three teams. I think it's going to be Luton, Chef United,
I don't think
and
Burnley's coming.
maybe
I think
Burnley.
Everton.
But yeah, Everton. I think it's just going to be an
They're
easy
not.
Premier. I think the Premier League is going to be. I mean, I think the top six will be competitive, or whatever, the top four, because I think Newcastle are legit. So now you've got like seven
Oh
teams
yeah,
vying for 4 slots. But I just think this is going to be an easy one. I think this is going to be a tough championship year.
yeah.
Um,
It's gonna be
but
exciting.
Yeah. I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, what do you think about Ipswich? Like,
Ipswich, right? I think it's gonna be a tough game. I think it's like Birmingham. Um, I think we'll still struggle to score. I think it'll be low
yeah,
scoring.
I
It's
think
gonna
we'll
be
still
another
struggle to
like it could
score
be another
because of the,
draw. If I think we're
yeah.
if we get a draw from away, I'm okay with that. But yeah, I don't think we'll have a lot of goals.
I do too. I think it's going to be a struggle just because I think the front four still haven't gelled. They don't know where they're going to be. There's no partnerships up top really.
We don't even know what the lineup's gonna look like. We don't know who's gonna feature. We don't know who's coming back from injury if they're fully
Sounds like
fit. Yeah,
Sinistero walks back into the side. I hate to say that. I think Piroe will be available to play in the game, but I don't know if he starts. Uh,
hopefully, be nice. How about him coming off the bench and
wow, Ipswich
scoring the
is,
winner?
according to the bookies, Ipswich is favored. Wild. Okay. 41% chance of winning by Ipswich Town, 28% chance of a draw, and a 31% chance of a Leeds United win. So we are underdogs.
Makes sense though.
This is
We're
away.
still in transition. We're still yeah.
This is at Portman Road away in Ipswich. So they will be.
Not televised in the U.S. that I'm aware of.
So we have to get LUTV.
Yeah, I'll be at work, so I won't be able to watch it. But maybe
that's a tough.
catch the
That's a tough
replay.
one. I thought ESPN Plus would give us almost every game. That
I did too. I was really disappointed. I thought they covered all the games.
Because I think I didn't. We didn't get Bournemouth, or not Bournemouth. Birmingham.
Right.
So yeah, we are dogs in this game. If it was at
What do you
home,
think?
I'd feel a lot more confident.
Yeah.
I think it's going to. People have said 2-2, 1-1.
That's what I'm thinking.
I just like the way we controlled the game the last game. I didn't think they sniffed goal.
I don't worry about our defense. It's weird. Like I don't worry about our defense now. I worry about scoring goals at the moment.
Yeah.
Where before it was like, how many goals are we going to concede?
Yeah. If the back line is, or the back six is the same, which I think it will be. So the only vulnerability for me is Luke Ayling, and I don't know what that matchup is. If Luke Ayling can go up against a freshly promoted Ipswich Town from League One, and I don't think he's going to be dropped. I think that we could at least maybe not concede more than one goal. So that makes me think, can we get 2 goals? I think we can. If it can be maybe one goal from maybe a set piece, and then a late winner by either Sinistera or Piroe coming off the bench, or I don't know. That's where I'm kind of thinking a late Leeds United smash and grab to kind of carry us the momentum. 2-1 is kind of my early.
There we go.
Thoughts
I like that
on the game.
Yeah.
2-0 says Patty. Who's your worried yesterday but not now, says Patty. Who are your goal scorers, guys? What do you guys think? Who, if you think it's 2-0, who do you think scores? Yeah, we win that game against West Brom, Philip. Yep, I agree. That was not only, it's a clean sheet. I'm positive. I just do think the front four has yet to kind of really gel.
Piroe Sinistera would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Piroe Sinistera. Yeah.
Piroe off the bench.
Yeah. Piroe off the bench, I think, is is mine. Ruter.
In his debut.
Ruter would be great. Man, if we could get Ruter, or Rudder, as some people say, if we could get him
unlocked.
You ask Lucky about that last week. If we can get him unlocked. I mean, Willie putting one in would just be huge off of his shoulders.
I think we're starting to see like we could potentially
sniping a goal would be great.
Yeah, that would be fun. He could do it.
Yeah.
But
this is a big game. This is a big game. This is legit. This is legit big. I mean, it's early leaders. If they go on and win this game or get a result, they're going to continue to have more swag. I don't think that they're going to get an automatic promotion, but I just think they'll definitely maybe be in the mix for the playoffs the rest of the year.
Yeah, you go and grab a win there, finish out the window strong. Wow.
It's not over for us, but it's still like it's going to continue this kind of negativity into the week. Who do we have after Ipswich? I'm just interested in
I think
our little run.
Chef Wednesday. Chef Wednesday at home.
Chef Wednesday, the day after the close. We do have an EFL Cup second round against Salford City. So yeah, we have Ipswich. Oh, it is Saturday. I thought it was Sunday. Ipswich Saturday. This Saturday. We have EFL Cup second round. On Tuesday, we have Sheffield United a week from Saturday. I think there's going to be 2 in the door by Ipswich.
Yeah, it's a 10 o'clock
2
start.
to 3 more the final week.
Here in the US.
Then Millwall on the 17th. Is that?
So, Alex, my son's playing in Pittsburgh on the 2nd, and they have a Leeds Pittsburgh. I think it's called Pittsburgh Whites. They have a supporters group in Pittsburgh. So I contacted them. So I might, if they're watching a game, let me go down there and watch it in the morning.
That's cool.
With them. So I try to tell people online, there's lots of Americans that follow Leeds that don't follow the USMNT like a lot of these guys do. There's a lot of committed, loyal Leeds fans in the States.
Yeah. So. Some of the Leeds United, I don't know, some of the Leeds United fans I follow are usually like ex-UK.
Yeah, but we've got supporters groups all over the States.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, every city does.
Yeah.
Almost every major city, I would say.
So yeah, hopefully I can connect with those guys.
That's so cool. I've never watched a game. This is crazy. Never watched a game with another Leeds fan.
Yeah.
Besides my son, but it's like I don't know.
Same here.
In it,
make it happen
the way I am.
Speaking of my son, I gotta go grab him. He's over at a friend's house. So
thanks for joining me. We'll cut it here. Smash the like. His name is Chris Fox at Chris Fox 75. My name's Alex. American Leeds. Thanks for watching, everybody. Smash the like as you can. Subscribe, and we'll do it again. Probably next week. We'll do something.
Yeah.
Thanks. Night, everybody.
Thanks, Alex.
Bye.